So the last part about fractions that we're going to look at is dividing fractions. So let's set up a problem. Dividing fractions often we're going to get with word problems, but let's look at the basic structure first. So if you have a problem that is 2 divided by 1/2. Okay, 2 divided by 1/2, if we wanted to draw that on a tape diagram, which is how we first learned how to do this, we're going to say that, okay, if my whole tape diagram is worth 2, that means each of these is worth 1. And I'm dividing each of those 1 by 1/2. Okay, so we learned that you can set up your tape diagram. That's awesome. The repetitious way that we were able to check our math here is the saying where we talked about keep, change, flip, right? So we're going to keep the first number, we are going to change the operation, and we are going to flip the second number. So in this situation, the 2 stays as a 2, the division changes to a multiplication, and our 1/2 is going to flip and get the reciprocal, which is going to be 2 over 1. 2 times 2 over 1 is the same thing as 4, which matches our tape diagram of 2 divided by 1/2, which equals 4. Now, I said that fractions often relate best, or dividing fractions relate best to word problems, because that way that gives us that context of where it makes sense. So a word problem that could match this is, let's say you have 2 yards of fabric, 2 yards of fabric, and you're making pillows for our floor seats. And each pillow needs a 1/2 a yard of fabric. Well, how much yard or how many pillows can you actually make here? Would be the kind of question. So super basic. How many pillows can you make? That's what this tape diagram works, right? It's 2 yards of fabric. Each pillow represents 1/2 a yard of fabric, and they want to know how many pillows you can make, which is 4. And again, you can check that with your division here. Now, that works for whole numbers divided by fractions. So let's say we had the problem changed to 4 yards of fabric, and each pillow can still be made by 1/2 a yard of fabric. How many pillows can we make? We can draw a new tape diagram, or we can do our keep, change, flip, where we're going to keep, change, flip, so we get 8, or 8 pillows, right? So keep, change, flip. The other way we looked at dividing fractions was a fraction divided by a whole number. So let's switch this problem around a little bit and say now you have 4/5 yards of fabric, and you can do, okay, 4/5 is our starting off point. So in our tape diagram, if I say that I need to do fifths, 4. That means this amount is worth 4/5, right? 4 of them are shaded. 4/5 of a yard of fabric, and each pillow, or how about 4/5 of a yard of fabric make 4 pillows. And then we want to know how many yards of fabric are each pillow. Well, that would be 4/5 divided by 4, which magically work here. They basically want us to know what each one of those is worth. 4/5 divided by 4, we're going to know that's equal to 1/5 by looking at our picture here. But if you didn't have the picture, 4/5 divided by 4, we can still follow that keep, change, flip model, where we keep the first number, we change the second number, and we flip, or we change the operation, and we're going to flip the second number. Now, flipping the second number does not make it equal 4 over 1. That did not change that at all. 4 equals 4 over 1. But what you can think of is you can think of that as 4 over 1. And then when you flip it, find the reciprocal, it's worth 1/4. So now we get 4/20, which equals 1/5, which matches our picture here. Okay, so when you have a fraction divided by a whole number, you can draw out your picture to match your problem, or you can use the quick way of checking your work. Now, some problems, they might ask you to draw a picture, so you're going to have to be able to think and model your work like that. So that's why we show you both ways. But I like doing the number way as well, because it is a good way of checking your work to make sure it makes sense. So let's try another one. Let's do 1/2 divided by 4. Well, keep, change, flip. 1/2 stays the same. We're going to change division to multiplication, and we're going to flip 1/4 into 1/4. So we get 1/8. If it was 4/7 divided by 12, same thing. Keep, change, flip. Keep the 4/7, change the division to multiplication. The reciprocal of 12 is 1/12, so I just multiply it straight across. 4 times 1 is 4. 7 times 12, you might have to do off to the side a little bit. It's going to be 84, which then you can simplify because 4 might go into 84. I know 2 does because they're both even. But basically, if you're following our keep, change, flip model, and you're being consistent, that you're keeping the first number, you're changing the division to multiplication, and then you're flipping your second number, you should end up with the right answer.